pandemic of violence floods the streets of major cities as cases of the media-dubbed murder virus, MV20, soar, causing those infected to go on killing sprees. Caught in the middle, police detective Angela Miller finds her only trustworthy ally in the self-proclaimed psychic PI, Gerald Henry. As the two try to navigate the violence, they are drawn into New Age guru Abramelin Harvest's plot to heal the planet. Harvest's missive?
The world is sick, and humanity is the infection.
The cure? Murder. From the twisted mind of Sean C. Baker, author of A Collection of Desires and Shadow Play in Book 1, Kim and Jesse, comes his most vicious novel yet, Murder Virus. Available where books are sold.
Hello, welcome to another episode of the Horror Vision Presents Sharing in Session, a weekly Yellowjackets discussion. I'm Sean.
And I'm Missy.
And this week we're talking about the penultimate episode of Yellowjackets Season 2. That's Season 2, Episode 8, It Chooses. And boy, did it choose. Missy, you just finished rewatching it. I rewatched it a little while ago, so we've both seen it twice. Talk about your initial and your secondary impression.
Okay. I've been watching them when they drop at midnight on Thursday or slightly after. So I watched this very late on Thursday into Friday night. And my initial reaction was that I was very disappointed, and I didn't quite know why, because I felt like a lot did happen, and I didn't understand why I would have that reaction when I had very favorable reactions to episodes that did not have as many things happen as this one did. In thinking about it, I think it's just that I have certain expectations or things that I want to see met, and I'm just worried we're running out of time because there's only one episode left. However, I don't know if it's true. I have heard or seen on the internet that there is a possibility that it is an extra long episode.
Oh, that's
The
interesting.
next one, the finale. I've also seen things online, and these are just in like a Yellowjackets discussion group. So again, I don't know if it is accurate or not. I've also heard whispers of like a secret episode.
That's interesting.
I would assume it would be one or maybe kind of like how when Baraska season 1 ended, we got that final episode that was like a half episode. It was like a to be continued, and then 2 days later they dropped the rest, and nobody knew that was going to happen. So I mean, it could be something like that.
Oh, that's interesting.
But
I
again,
had forgotten about that.
I don't know if either of those things are true. It's just like fan speculation, I guess. But I've seen it more than once, so we'll see. Fingers crossed we get a surprise, I guess, or an extra long episode. When I watched it again, I just watched it again today. And I think I was, because I knew where it was going to go, I was willing to just go for the ride, and I had a better reaction to it. I mean, it is a good episode. There is a lot to unpack. I still didn't get everything I wanted, but there are a couple things that were super cool. So maybe I just wasn't in the right mood, or I think I just looking at it going, nope, it felt like it was just getting wound up and then stopped right when I wanted more. And it's like, wait, it's over, and now we only have one left. But I felt better the second time around.
Talk and so this may be the kind of thing where you can't express it, but you said, and I mean I feel the same way, and I don't know that I can express it, but do you have specific,
But
like
we'll
when you
try.
talked about your expectations, like that this episode didn't meet initially, like there's certain things you want to see, like is there anything concrete that you like
Hmm.
palpable that you can say, no, I want to see this resolved, or I want to see this, or they haven't addressed this and they need to before the end, like is there anything
Well,
that you can talk to about that, like specifics?
hmm yeah. Well, there is the big thing I want that I've been obsessed with since the very beginning is, and now just watching the after this last episode, just a little teaser trailer, I might start getting it in the next episode. But I've been obsessed with the masks since the show started and we started seeing, those couple clips with them
Mm-hmm.
in these feral tribal animal masks.
Mm-hmm.
I want to see more of that. I want to know more about the ritual. I want to know who's under the masks. I want more of that story. They don't have to resolve everything, but I want to get there. Because what drew me to the show to begin with was, I love Lord of the Flies and stories in that vein, and it had that they tribe up and go full on feral Lord of the Flies vibe from the beginning, and I want that story. I mean, I'm okay with the character development and them somewhat taking their time, but I at least want more, some more of it, because that's what I've always wanted to dig into.
So you will get it because we've seen it before, right? So I mean, they're not going to show it to us without, but I understand. Like I want it too, but I would say this episode we get that story. It's just in its earliest stages because like as I say every episode now, it's all conjecture. I'm almost like there's certain things in this episode where it's just like wrong, whatever.
Well, we've been convinced since the very beginning that Adam
Yeah, and that's
Adam and
obviously not
Javi
the case,
were the
right?
same person, and that was confirmed that they are not.
I mean, unless we really go weird places, but most likely, yeah. So, but so the way we talked previously about those that, and you're referencing the very first thing we see in the very first episode of season one, where the girl who we now think is Mari has the necklace, she's running, you hear the others, making the like kind
Yeah,
of jungle noises as they chase her, she falls in a pit. Then we see the sequence where they're all in their elaborate costumes and masks and they make the food over the fire and then eat.
right after the pit girl, we also get standing before we cut to them doing the ritual to eat. There is the one person in that skunk mask with the pink shoes and the co-ed naked soccer shirt standing at like the edge of the cliff looking down. Like they were in hot pursuit.
We have the first iteration of that here. It's just not it, so it's in its first, so it's not what it will become. And so I said to Kirsten, okay, so
right,
this is what we had thought that they had maybe tribed up and that like this was one tribe versus the other. I had theorized repeatedly that Mari was going to do something to piss somebody off and that's why she was going to be chased. But no, so now what we see is that for the good of the group, they're going to do this. You draw a card and whoever gets the card is the one that is going to get eaten, and they'll hunt them and maybe they work into their ritual somehow, like you get a head start or something like that. We don't know. But we saw the exact same thing that we see in that first episode in this episode with Nat, except they're not in their costumes because it's the first time they've done it. And obviously it doesn't play out the way it does in that future event with whoever that is with the black hair, Mari. But so that leads me. So one of the things. So do you remember last episode when the present day girls are all sitting around and they're drinking and talking, and Misty goes, what about? Okay, do you remember that first summer? And everyone's like, oh, we don't talk about this. The first summer. So let's just say, technically, if they crash somewhere around homecoming.
I have no idea when homecoming is, but I know they're there for 18 months.
Yeah, so okay, so that means they're going to go through a second winter, it sounds like. So this is going to become a thing where they're going to do this when they need to eat. They're going to have their ritual is going to be, okay, somebody draws a card and whoever gets that card.
Yeah, it's the queen with the eyes scratched out, the same, which is what Lottie kept seeing in her affirmation cards when she started having the visions.
So that's what I was going to ask was, are you, I wanted to go back and didn't have a chance. It was definitely the queen that Lottie was seeing previously.
Yeah, I'm positive.
Okay.
I went back in that previous episode when we were talking about it.
Okay.
To confirm it for myself. It is definitely the queen.
Okay, because for some reason I had thought it was a king. I thought it was referencing the guy that Ty sees. Okay.
No, it is absolutely the queen. I'm positive.
Okay. Because then I was wondering, we backed it up to watch him draw cards again? Because I was like, is Javi's card actually foreshadowing that he's going to be the one? But it's not at all. So okay.
It's not the death card. It's the Javi got the ace of clubs, not the ace of spades.
No, I think Javi got a king.
I took notes on at least the ones that I thought were relevant, and I'm trying to find it. Okay. Got it. So, I mean, and again, I'm positive that the Queen of Hearts is with the eye scratched out is the card that Lottie was seeing. So I kind of associate that with the idea of Lottie becoming the Antler Queen. Also interesting, Van gets the Jack of Hearts, which would be like the Queen's second in command.
Interesting.
I mean, if you're using playing cards, think in tarot, Jacks are like knights. You're right. It's Javi gets the King of Spades.
That's a King
Travis
of Spades.
Gets the Ace of Clubs.
Yeah. That's
what it was. I knew one of the boys drew the ace, and I freeze framed it to make sure it wasn't the spades, but it's not. However, Javi does get the King of Spades. And then I didn't see what everybody else's were. There, none of the others got face cards.
Mm-hmm.
They were the numeric pip cards.
Yeah, like 3 of hearts or something like that. I think Melissa got 3 of hearts or something like that. As we were approaching this end of the second viewing, and Coach finds the little shelter, I was like, why can't I remember what happens here? And it's because nothing happens there. He finds it, he finds the bones or whatever, and then literally it just cuts to what happens on the ice, right? And then it ends. So I mean, there's huge, the thing with this episode is they've elegantly answered a bunch of things. However, I no longer know what the big picture is. Like, I don't know. So if we're to believe that the next episode, we're going to see one of the present day die on the phenobarbital, and which I don't necessarily think is going to happen. I don't think it's going to happen the way that they're setting it up, right? Because
I don't either.
Nothing, so there's that. There's what's up with the shelter that Coach finds? Like, is there more to it? Is it now I'm wondering, are all those trees with is that almost like a hobo sign? Like we talked about before, where it indicates this is.
But the symbol wasn't different.
That's what I'm saying. With that symbol, every time there's a tree with that symbol, does that indicate that beneath the tree there's a shelter of some kind?
Oh, that there's
I don't know.
Okay, that there's several of these little hidey holes. Maybe.
I'm curious.
I didn't think of that.
If they'll find it had, you know, some other connection to the guy with the plane that was in there that blew his head off. Like there's just all, to me, the biggest mystery right now I want answered is more about that shelter.
Okay. Well, and interesting too, the we see the bones that
Animal bones. Yeah.
Coach finds. Right. So that can be one of two things or both. I mean, either it's something that somebody was eating and they found some kind of food, um, or they're shaman bones, which is what they look like to me.
I think it's what Hobby was eating when he was there for months.
Oh, okay.
That's how I took it. But so then that also opens a question is where he's leading Nat to where Coach is, or is he leading her to another one? So we don't know that either. Because we don't see Coach cross the ice, right? So
right.
I feel like
Coach was going to a tree near the creek.
Right. So
but because he
we're
asked
led
Nat
to
which
believe
tree,
kind of as passive viewers that they're going to the same spot, but I don't necessarily think that they are. So that's what made me think like, oh, maybe all the trees that
Okay.
have those stamped
that's
on
a
them
good
are,
idea. I thought they were going to the same spot, but I think you're onto something.
maybe. I mean, I'm usually wrong,
maybe,
so maybe not, but
maybe not. We've been right about a couple things.
yeah. I mean, I'm not being salty. It's fun to guess, and I'm glad that I'm wrong because if I was figuring it out, I'd be pissed off, right? You know, it's like
Right, yeah.
I'd be like, well,
I like to be surprised. One of the I think my biggest issue is that all right, if they decide to do this lottery and draw cards to see who's is going to get eaten. Lottie is about to die. Like, why would you kill and eat somebody who is still useful to the group?
well, the whole point of it was they want to save
is about to
Lottie.
die.
But the whole point is if we can feed her, she might not die.
She has injuries that just eating something isn't going to fix
right.
it.
Agreed. But that was literally like they do outline their logic. Like the way they get to that lottery is, well, she's not going to live if she doesn't eat. So that's why they're not thinking clearly. It doesn't make any sense. I mean, if they had killed Nat and then Lottie died, they would have been like, oh, snap, that sucks. Wow. Well, I mean, we got more food, but we didn't need to do that, right? But
I mean, and we killed our best hunter and our best shot.
Actually, though, in a way, like they still can't go wrong because it's food. So it's not like, I mean, it's and
right, but you've also then killed the best hunter in your group and the best shot.
So I have a feeling this was born out of panicked necessity, right? And I don't think it was thought through. I think as it goes on and becomes this ritual institution, I think they're going to fix it so that, well, although I don't know, because they're very big on like, okay, it chose, right? So they're not going to choose for the wilderness. Right. But the thing is, you're right. Like if I'm there, I'm going to be like, wait, guys.
In fact, when they try to choose for the wilderness,
exactly.
It does what it wants.
So if I'm there, I'm going to look at them and be like, okay,
it wanted Hobby.
Why are we going to kill Nat, who is good with a rifle, when we've got at least 4 people here who are good with nothing? Like who literally do nothing except eat food and take up space. Like the Melissa with the pink hat. Right. Like there's a bunch of people where it's like, realistically, it's terrible, but we're talking about like situations of human, I mean, survival. It's necessity. Yeah, and exactly.
You're not going to sacrifice the people who are valuable to your survival. The people who
I think they're going to realize
valuable skills. Yeah.
I think they'll realize it, but also I guess it doesn't really matter. They could just be thinking, especially after this, it's going to take who it takes, and that's who it wants, and we don't have a say in it, so it will provide. So if it takes somebody that's valuable, well, I guess it'll just provide what that person provided somehow. So
okay,
which we have seen where like about that. They do throw the whole thing was it? I think Mari throws it in Nat's face early on, where somebody says like she is a good hunter or whatever, and she's like, "Well, Lottie caught all of our meat without even using a gun. It just came to her."
Yeah, that was Mari.
Yeah,
that's when they had the whole challenge.
Yeah, exactly. The challenge. Yeah. So
with the moose and everything.
The way they look at it already is it doesn't matter what you do for the group, because it's very subservient to the wilderness, which I applaud Nat though for doing that. You got to look me in the eyes. That was fucking great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she's got balls. I love her so much.
Mm-hmm.
And I also like when it came down to it that Travis protected her.
Yeah. Which I don't think he would have just like an episode ago, but he's come back around, right? So, or maybe he would have. I don't know, but he definitely. We had that scene before where he's like, "You're a good person," which he saw that she made the gloves for, which is interesting because how are they going to pitch? Okay, well, guess what, Travis? You weren't there, and weird thing, we were going to kill Nat, and then the ice broke, so the wilderness chose your brother. So guess what? Dinner tonight? It's Javi. Like, I don't see him eating his brother.
No, I don't either. But he also does buy into all of Lottie's.
But he does. But look, he interfered with Nat's execution, so he buys
true.
into it only so far, right? And then there's a stopping point where it's like, no, because theoretically, right, that was
right.
As
he
far
protected
as they
her,
knew.
and then he may even blame himself because he had a moment with Javi where it wasn't spoken, but it looks like he sent him after her.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. They have him pinned up. They have Travis pinned up against the wall with the knife, and he looks at Javi, and Javi,
right.
You see something pass between their eyes, and then he takes off. Which, man, talk about. It was so sad for Nat because it's like this kid's going out of his way to try and help her, and like, I mean, at first Misty does prevent her, but then
Misty pulls her off because, I mean, when it happens, Nat immediately goes after him, even knowing that they're all behind her and could bludgeon her. Like, she doesn't even think about it. She goes after him, and she's screaming for them to help her, and then Misty comes and pulls her off and says, "No, let him go, because otherwise they're going to eat you."
Yeah. And then, of her own accord, she basically just watches it. And then there was that moment after he dies where I'm like, dude, they're gonna lose him just like the fucking
You're gonna lose him,
right? So, and they just barely got him.
But a person doesn't weigh as much as a moose.
Yeah, right. But still, had he gotten below their reach, they would have been fucked.
Yeah, that's the whole thing was. I mean, I agree with the "it chooses" part, but that whole thing with Javi was just sad because it's gonna. I mean, it's gonna fuck Nat up that she.
Yeah.
That she let him. She didn't try harder to save him because she didn't want to die herself.
Yeah.
And it's gonna fuck up Travis, and they do care about each other, Nat and Travis, but he keeps everything gets tangled and fucked up.
Yeah. I thought it was the best episode of the season so far. I loved it. I felt like I could have done without the fucking shitty Smashing Pumpkins song, but they saved it at the end with the Low song.
They're using songs that are very relevant to that.
It fits. It's fine.
In the context of what, right?
Yeah. But it really. So, right at the beginning, the fucking scene with what's her name in the mouse?
Oh my god!
Right there, I was
Nugget.
Yes, I was so fucking happy. I was like, dude, that's what I want from this fucking show right here. That was fucking awesome.
And I never saw that coming. That was
not in 1 minute. And but you know what's
that
funny?
was awesome.
Right before it happened, I was about to say to Kirsten, I'm like, what the fuck is she feeding this thing that it's still alive? And then, well, no, it's not alive. Oh man.
Yeah, so they're all going a bit crazy. They're, I mean, and that's kind of insinuated with all of them.
Well, and then Mari does the
Mari
dripping
is
again,
hearing
right?
the dripping again, but Ty heard it.
Ty heard it, and then Mari has the total like Evil Dead, blood.
Right, the vision
pouring. Yeah. And it's hard to know if we should attach some deeper meaning to these things, or if it's literally just like, no, they're losing their minds because they're fucking cooking up. So first of all, the belt, I find that funny because
that's ridiculous.
Well, no, it's not. It's not because for instance, in the siege of Leningrad, they made to survive. People ate what they called library candy. They would take books from the libraries, boil them to extract the glue that held the pages together, and then they would chew that because glue is from an animal and it has some form of protein. The thing with the belt,
but the belt is treated with.
That's the thing with the belt. It's leather, so it's protein. But what did they treat it with? So they can potentially you're poisoning yourself.
Right. That's what I was thinking. That yes, I get that it's leather. However, unless it's undyed, untreated leather, just completely. And especially a belt, they always put like a hard finish on belts.
Yeah, exactly. They're desperate, but they're also poisoning themselves.
But that shit would kill you.
So we don't know how deep their nervous systems, their biology is fucked up from. Because if they're cooking a fucking belt, what was the soup before she put the belt in it? I thought I saw a couple blades of grass or something, but they're not eating.
No, they can't.
Dude, Aquila almost ate the fucking mummified corpse of the mouse.
Right.
Which I was actually surprised she didn't eat. I was glad. I was like, oh God, wow, that's foul. But luckily we've never been in a situation where we were that hungry, right? But who fucking knows what you would do,
Right.
But so yeah, what are the psychological ramifications of that? So I'm tempted to say there is not necessarily deeper meaning, or you could say there is a deeper meaning, and that this is the same way if you take hallucinogens, or sweat lodge or whatever, you see things, you can just say, well, those things don't mean anything. It's just your body fighting off the toxin, the poison that you put in. Blah blah blah. This
shared hallucination brought on by starvation.
Well, I don't know that anybody else saw the blood. Mari's the only one that screams. So Ty says she hears it, but Mari's the one that reacts. Nobody else reacts. So I don't think it was a shared hallucination. I think that was just Mari. I think what they're doing is
I didn't necessarily mean that hallucination. I mean, like everything, like when they go feral and they're chasing.
Yeah.
Like they're listening to the woods and being guided.
Yeah, supposedly.
That's what it seems like, and they're all tuned into it. They're tuned, so they're either tuning into the same frequency or it's communicating with them.
Yeah.
And then, they've got like shared hysteria, I guess is a better word.
There's definitely shared hysteria. But they're not thinking like normal people are thinking on a day-to-day basis. Like,
right.
They're completely off. So
because they're fucking starving.
Yeah. And also it occurred to me, so now Shauna and Lottie, technically Lottie twice because of the hallucination with the mall where she was freezing, but they have now come and like knocked on death's door, right? Like if this doesn't go full supernatural and Lottie does survive, with another thing we don't know at the end of the episode.
Well, somehow she survives.
Well, but we don't know. Like we talked about last week, is it possible she'll die and then come? Like I doubt it,
Right.
but we don't know. We still these are still there's still parameters of the show that we do not know. So we know there's something extrasensory, but we don't really know what it is, or to what degree.
Right.
So, but if she does survive, which she most likely will, then that means those two have been the closest to death, and I don't know if that means something in the present day that we haven't seen yet.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I guess I kind of take it as at this point, then their fates are tied, Shauna and Lonnie.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, all right, in the previous episode where Shauna beats the hell out of her, Lottie tells her, Shauna, we need you, let it out.
Mm-hmm.
And then in this episode, Van very specifically tells the group that Lottie took it from her to protect us.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it definitely seems like she's got something in her. Because there's a couple times, like, you see her and her face is all swollen and everything. And it almost looks like something is, like, moving under her skin.
Yeah, I noticed that too. I think it's just the way that she looks, but
is it?
Yes.
Okay.
I think that's what I could be wrong, but I definitely feel like that. And obviously they set up very quickly. So I think it opens with them helping her pee, and there's blood in her urine, so that means she's got internal damages, right? So that's
right, and
way more serious than how serious she looks.
About how terrible it smells too. Yeah. So that sounds like that's infection.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know. I mean,
and again, in her state, I mean, you know, a urinary or a kidney infection that is not treated could kill her.
Yeah.
Slow and terrible, like.
I mean, this has left a lot of doors open for the next episode to close, and I don't expect it to close them all, but I feel like whatever doors it doesn't close, what we're going to do is those are the doors that will lead us through to whatever the next season will be. And like I said, I don't know what this is. Like, I just don't know. I don't believe that it's just going to be, because the past is feeding the story of the present. So where's the story of the present going? Well, it's not just going to be, even if next week they drink and one of them dies. I mean, the show has to be bigger than that. So I no longer have the ability to tell. I can't see the outline of the bigger picture anymore, which is interesting because, I mean, it makes me a little worried, but not really. Like I said about not being able to guess stuff, I don't mind being wrong because, like, I want to be surprised. So I'm glad that there's not a bigger organization or what, you know, like all those things that I thought before. It's like, no, this is something I literally have no fucking idea. So that's exciting.
That is exciting. And again, I don't know what my problem is because I watched it again now and it's a good episode. I have no idea
your problem is, you know, it ends with the next episode. That's your problem. Right. Like, I guarantee that's your problem. You're already going through with, I mean, I get it because I'm going to be there next week. And like, I felt that in season 1, that last episode, until the final moments with the voiceover, you know, the accountant or the banker on the phone, like, who the hell is Lottie, blah, blah, blah. And then the people bust in. I was not blown away by the final episode of season 1 when I watched it the first time. I remember feeling like, it's great they're all together at the fucking dance. We're spending a lot of time with that. And Randy and Jeff talking. By the way, I fucking love Jeff. The guy's he's got some questionable taste in music, but he's just a fucking good guy. But man, I don't know. I really like his character. And like Kirsten pointed out, her favorite scene in this episode was the dream sequence where Sean has the knives for fucking for hands and fucking cuts his throat or whatever.
Okay.
And she's like, I just like them together. They're so entertaining. And she's not wrong. Like, I do
They
really
have
like.
great chemistry together.
They do. I really like them together. And I mean, with that story, I don't see how there's no way Shauna can get out of this at this point, as far as I can see. I mean, I just don't see how it makes me wonder. And this is like something I keep thinking as episodes go by because of that storyline. Is she going to die? Which seems crazy, but you never fucking know. I mean, are we going to lose a major cast member? It's possible. We don't know, but it's
possible.
very possible.
I mean, the other thoughts I had regarding that was, I mean, Van may volunteer as tribute.
Yeah, it's and
knowing
it
that
seems
to protect the others, knowing that she has cancer that will kill her. She said she has months.
Although that would be her choosing. So they may do that and it doesn't work, or they may just completely poo-poo that because it's like, no, we know that's not going to work. You can't choose.
Mm-hmm.
Although I don't know, can you? It's a sacrifice.
It's kind of out there.
Okay, hit me.
The last few episodes, we've seen Natalie and Lisa form a connection. When we first meet Lisa at the Purple People Cult, one of her first times on screen, she screws up something with Lottie's drink.
Yeah, the drink, yeah.
And I don't know, I just have a gut feeling that the wilderness is going to choose and something's going to happen and she's going to get the cut.
Oh, I don't think that's that out there. Actually, Missy, I think that's pretty fucking, because we've gotten to know her for a reason, right? And also they threw that scene in today where she sees them, right? She's walking and she's looking at what they're doing, and Charlotte sees that and she's like, we got to do this in the sharing shack.
Right. The sharing shack. I love that. Just made me laugh so hard. Initially I thought that Lisa just came into it because she's been helping Natalie. Natalie has learned some things about herself and is trying to, move on and deal with them. And Lisa has helped her in forgiving her and kind of befriending her. So I thought it just had to do with her, her character development, and realizing that, she's worth something. But now I think it was also so that we'd care about her. So when she died, it wouldn't, I don't think, I mean, we've seen it in the show previously and just in any of our understanding of anything occult, like it's going to choose what it wants.
Yeah, right.
So, I mean, they can say it wants one of us, but I mean, what defines the us? Is it only the six of them, or?
No, I bet it's not. And then here's the other thing. So that
I don't think it is either.
That makes me think of Kirsten brought up the fact when we watch it the second time, she's like, wait a minute. So it might have happened off camera, but they just get there and just happens to have 6 cups and one of them has poison in it. It is still possible, as you said, Lisa, and you were talking about that, as you laid that out, because I think you're right. 100%, I think you're right. It got me thinking again, we still don't know, like, Lottie might not be a good person. Like, there could still, like, it made me think, like, remember the whole thing, like, Natalie's like,
she's a good person.
You have all their bank account records and this and that. And she's like, they give it to me. Like, it's all being presented in this way where it's like, from Natalie's perspective, where it's like, aha, oh, but I have an answer for that. Okay.
Yeah, Lottie is, I mean, I don't necessarily think she's the villain, but I mean, she's not a good person. She's still a cult leader.
Well, I don't think it's a cult, but I don't think the overall thing is a cult. I think they've kind of, I could be completely wrong. I feel like they've established that it's,
It still feels really culty.
although, see, it does. Maybe you might very well be right. Maybe it is a fucking cult. Maybe that'll be the turn, because has she been like, is this a way that she accomplishes something else? And we don't know what her life consists of other than what we've seen through the eyes of her friends now, right? So, and very little else. I do think you're right. I think it's going to be Lisa. I think that's brilliant.
No, we'll see. We've had a couple of other revelations that haven't necessarily paid off.
Yeah, of course, but it's all in fun. I wanted,
oh yeah, for sure.
I wanted to bring up another one we were wrong on, but I was happy to be wrong. Walter, so he's got a really nice pad. At first, I was like,
yeah, I wanted to talk about Walter.
I thought he was there at first because it looked like a similar architecture, you know. And I'm like, is he like in one of the? And I'm like, no, that's got to be his place, right? He's loaded from the lawsuit, if that's even true. But
he could be involved with them, though. Did you see the purple coat?
Well, okay. Oh, see, now I hadn't thought. I took that as,
unless he's using it as a disguise to try and get in.
So that's how I took it, but that is interesting. Okay, I had not thought.
Well, and I'm thinking about that more because I saw something online in just like a chat group or something, and I sent it to you. The first time we see Natalie in season 1, and they're correct. I went back to confirm. She's wearing a purple sweater.
She's at another retreat, right? She's at rehab,
and she's at some kind of retreat, and then when she comes and sees Misty with the rifle and everything, she says she lost her purpose. And now she's been talking about, facing our trauma and, finding our way again. I don't know. I'm having a hard time putting it into words, but she could have been at one of their retreats or something.
Yeah, I definitely, when you sent me that picture, I saw that and I was like, that's interesting, because you don't know if it means something deeper or if it's just.
Right. And she's definitely leaning into it now, where she's not really talking like herself, and she bought into it. And we thought she was investigating, but now, I mean, maybe you're not. I mean, you've said before you thought everybody might have an other. She might not even know.
Yeah, I mean, I don't. That doesn't feel right to me anymore. But who knows? I mean, although I can't. When you sent me that picture, I have to say, at first I just took it as like, okay, that's just they're visually foreshadowing something that happens later. It's a throwaway,
and that's possible.
It's possible, but it is the place where she was. Also had the same vibe, because aren't they like, I feel like they're all sitting around outside, like
they are.
It feels very new age.
It's some kind of new agey retreat. Or like a new agey rehab center.
Yeah.
That's what I took it to be initially. But now I think it might not have been rehab. It might have been like one of these kind of places.
Right.
And again, we don't know everything that happened to them yet. I mean, she might have times where she loses time and doesn't even know.
Yeah. Oh man, I can't wait for this fucking finale.
Going back to Walter, what I found interesting when we find Walter in his condo or wherever he is. All right, Walter is listening to the Phantom of the Opera.
Yeah.
Doing a puzzle of a space cat.
Is that what it was? I couldn't tell what the fuck it was.
Yep, it's a cat in space wearing like a helmet with rainbow colors. And his screensaver is a cat, like a kitten. Um, and he's by himself, like he's not doing it to impress Misty or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, I just feel like that's some insight into his personality.
Yeah, I think it is too. But
Also, the song, the Phantom song,
Mhm.
is I forget exactly how it goes, but it's about watching out for the other person.
Okay.
So is he going to the police to, or messaging the
There's the
police to
there's the
tell the truth,
question.
or to help Misty?
We don't know. That
Because the
and what
song is you're safe when I'm around, or something to that effect. I'm butchering it a little.
no, but it is, yeah, it's something. Um and yeah, like that was just such a perfect way to bring him back in, like just maximum effectiveness, because the scene is not long, but it's like you get him email the police and the purple blazer. So it's like,
Mm-hmm.
holy shit, like talk about two gotta sees right there. It's
Right.
like what
And
is
then
happening right now?
the Phantom song, which there have been lots of nods to Phantom before,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and we immediately tie it to Misty. So he's listening to Phantom, and then the song is about, nothing bad is going to happen to you while not while I'm around.
Right.
So what again? What are his intentions? Because initially I thought he was contacting the police because he's investigating it, and she just confessed on his answering machine.
Right.
Um, but then I started thinking about the song, and I don't think that's it at all. I think he's going to try to change the investigation to protect her.
That's interesting. Next episode is called Storytelling. Um, it does not have a time on it, which is good. I looked it up on IMDb, kind of
Do
hoping it
the other
didn't.
ones have a
Yeah, you
time?
let's see. Usually they do. Hold on. I think they do. I know movies do. Yeah, they do. Burial was 59 minutes.
Okay.
It
Yeah,
it
so if it's
chooses was 51.
specifically not giving us a time, I feel like that's telling us that it's
Not
going to be a longer
necessarily,
one. I hope.
because so they update. I would wager that if this was a week ago and I looked for It Chooses, it wouldn't have the time either. I think they keep all episode
Oh,
details under wraps until it airs, and then they update the IMDb page. I'm almost positive.
and what's the name of the episode? Storyteller?
Storytelling,
Storyteller. Okay.
which, if I'm not mistaken, that's the name of a Todd Solondz movie, and I feel like it's one of the movies that Van is putting away in one of the scenes with her video store, because I've seen that
Okay.
movie.
I don't know that this movie at
Whenever
all.
I see the title, I'm always like, "Oh wow!"
What's
So
it called? The
storytelling.
movie. Oh, okay. I'm not familiar with that movie at all.
Todd Solondz is a very specific.
Okay.
I I don't even know how to even begin to describe.
Okay.
It's not horror, but his movies make me wince way more than any
Oh,
horror
okay.
movie I've ever seen has.
Well, yeah, usually the stuff that gets on under our skin is the shit that's like too real world.
Yeah. But I don't know. So that's It Chooses. You got any closing thoughts? Anything we didn't touch on that you wanted to talk about?
Yes, I do
Okay.
actually. Um, all right, two things actually. First, um, there after we see the scene with um Nat being chased, and we flash back to that. We come back to the sharing shack,
Mm-hmm.
and Shauna says to Lottie, but none of that was real, Lottie. What does she mean? Is she talking about the memory of the lottery and the chase and that, or something
Wait,
else? What isn't real?
I don't remember her saying that.
Yeah, it's like right after we it's towards the end of the episode.
I can picture right where it is.
And it's like it's real, or it's, you know, them now. It's current. Um Also, in when Mari's having the vision in the cabin,
Uh-huh.
she starts yelling, their blood is dripping on the floor,
Yeah,
and yelling about them. Who are they?
I'm glad you brought
What
that
is
up.
she
I actually had
hearing?
that in my notes and I forgot about it.
So I'm getting caught on words there. Maybe I'm reading too much into
No,
it.
I don't think you
but-
are. I don't, because it is an intentional.
Right, they're so intentional about
Everything is intentional. So the first thing you brought up, it wasn't real. I'm trying to remember. I don't think it's a reference to the flashback, because they're not actively discussing that flashback. It's
no,
just the way that
they're actively sharing secrets at that point.
yes, yeah, exactly. So it's something about that.
Which that whole scene is great.
Oh, well, I like that everything's out in the open now. I love that.
Yeah, now everything's out. I like that. You know, and again, Lauren Ambrose is awesome.
Yeah.
I love the scene with her and Ty where she knows Ty is lying
Yeah.
and calls her out on it. That I know, you know, what did you guys do? You're gonna tell me and Lottie now what's going on. And then again, Van is the only one who's not out doing horrible things.
Yeah.
Because you know, Misty actually killed somebody.
But it was practical.
Right. Oh, she's so crazy. I love her.
I loved that. I loved where she said it was for the good of the group. And I loved where she said, "Oh, that was my boyfriend Walter."
Right.
Like completely in his absence, she's come around from dismissing him to him being her boyfriend. I find that hysterical.
I just keep thinking about Van. Does he know?
Yeah, exactly. Does he know? Yeah.
And she's always getting those shots, and she cracks me up.
Yeah, she does it.
Yeah, Misty, you are nothing if not proactive.
Yeah, thanks, I guess.
Right. Yeah, Misty would take it as a compliment.
We also got a flash of Ty's double in the past, and then she's looking like she sees a reflection. It's two reflections. She turns around, she's face to face with it, and then it's Van is standing there. I don't know if we were supposed to read something into that or not. I don't.
Well, and I think we are, because when you see the reflection, she sees herself twice at first.
Yeah.
One Ty is like smiling at her.
Yeah.
Maliciously.
Yeah.
And the other Ty looks like she's sneering. And then it like fades and we see Van instead.
So I'm not sure what. I mean, obviously, it's there to remind us of the double.
Right.
But is it saying something about Van and the double? Like, that's what I wasn't sure. Are we supposed to read that she's triggering it or something like that? I wasn't entirely sure.
Oh, that's an interesting thought, because Shauna does not seem happy to see the two of them together. Like, she kind of calls it out.
Yeah, she does.
Yeah, she kind of calls it out. When did this happen? You said you didn't even know where she was, and that's when.
Well, that could just be because. So going back to the first episode, going back to the first season, they have that meeting in a coffee shop, and she says like something about like Ty basically says something to the effect of like, I haven't heard from the others. So
Mhm.
Shauna is immediately, as everyone's being like, you're lying to us, you lied to us, you lied to us. She might be firing back. Well, you lied to me because you said you didn't know where she was. So
Oh,
it
okay.
could be that,
Maybe.
or there could be something else.
Or it could be more.
Yeah, it could be more.
Because, like, all right, Van drew the Jack of Hearts, and if we
Mhm.
take that to be in relation with the Queen, um, like the Antler Queen, um, Ty, we know that Ty's other very actively believes in
Yeah,
this. I mean, she had a altar in the basement with the dog's head on
yeah.
it. So I mean, you had called out previously that what if Ty's other and Van actually had
Mhm.
some kind of, I mean, we know they've interacted in minor doses,
Yeah,
but as things get more feral, like they may have more of a relationship.
yeah, that's true.
I mean, we don't know. They might be scary together.
Yeah, I think that's probably a pretty good guess. They've got a lot to do in the next episode.
Mm-hmm. Um, Jeff is losing his cool and losing up until now. He's always been super loyal to her, to Shauna, except for the blackmailing part. Those pictures fucked him up.
It did. It precipitated the dream sequence. However, after the dream sequence, there's a scene with him and Callie, and I feel like he's still her rock, I think. But I mean, the pressure's definitely on. And like Kevin Tan was very smart in saying, like, there's still time to get you and Callie out. Like,
Right.
and then you see the dream sequence, it's like his subconscious is
He's
telling him,
thinking
like,
about it.
dude, it might be time to bounce. I mean, that's I like when Shauna was like, if I had found out that, one of your spouses had, blackmailed us, I would have probably killed them.
Right. That's why I like you.
And so she's about as practical as Misty is. Like there is a pragmatism there.
Mm-hmm.
Like Misty just really enjoys it, and there's,
Yeah. Misty's proud of it.
yeah, there's a deeper psychology there where I think Shauna, it's
Misty's proud of it because, I mean, she even said, don't worry about it. I took care of it
yeah,
like
yeah,
I always do. That was the first time I realized that Shauna is just as crazy as Misty.
yeah. In a way, definitely, it just manifests differently. Um, so with next week's finale, just to the listeners, the episode may drop a day or two later based on our plans for the weekend, but also because I have some people coming in town. I also don't know if, depending on the episode and what happens, it may require longer study. And also for the listeners, like I told Missy, if it's there's not another episode after it the following week, so it's not like it's these episodes we try to bang out on Sunday and get them up because you saw it
Because it's
Friday
current.
and there's another one coming Friday, so it's current. It's not going to be the case, so we may digest it slightly longer. But if it doesn't drop on Sunday night, Monday next week, it'll drop Tuesday or something like that. So just putting that out there. But yeah, I don't know. So next week, storytelling.
I like that title.
I do
That
too.
that implies good things. And
Yeah.
yeah, it chooses was a good episode. I guess I was just
I'm telling you,
salty.
it's because it's coming to an end for another year at least. I mean, it's just the fan anxiety of that. It's like a shit, man. So I mean, it will be what it will be. I think ultimately we'll end up being happy, but we'll see. Maybe we'll both be like, you know what?
Right.
Not watching season 3. I seriously doubt that.
I highly doubt that.
I mean, Martians
Oh.
or time travel, maybe. Like if future
I mean,
Shauna
that's
comes back
exactly what I was going
and
to
she's
say.
got a cyborg arm, short gray hair, and a giant gun and a bunch of pouches on a belt, I would probably be like, I'm good.
I'm out.
But
yeah.
that's not going to happen. So, well, until storytelling for the Horror Vision Presents Sharing in Session, I'm Sean.
And I'm Missy.
And we'll be at the Sharon Shack.